Tell me a story about a time when you had body issues.
Okay, so I grew up pretty normal. I didn't ever think about my like appearance, my weight, my body like image or what I look like or anything of that matter. Thankfully, like I was always a fit kid. Like I played tennis since I was like 6 years old. My parents all played tennis. My mom would work out like every day. So I was always fit, but never and ate good food. We are from California in the Bay Area, so I feel like we have good food. My mom cooks very good, like healthy meals, but like well-rounded meals. So I never thought about what I ate or like how much I worked out growing up. But then I feel like naturally, but to maybe an unhealthy extent, at Cal Poly in college here, it's very, I would say, it's not really talked about as much as it should be, and it's kind of underlying, and it's kind of a hard thing because on the front, it is a positive thing to be healthy and eat really, like, healthy and be fit, but to any extreme, like, anything out of proportion and out of moderation is not healthy, and so I think what really started, like, where I was becoming more conscious and aware of what I look like or what I was wearing, what my body looked like, was probably, I would say, my sophomore year. Like freshman year, I didn't really care what I ate on campus, and I like worked out here and there, but I wasn't really that into it. And then sophomore year, I had a friend that naturally we compare ourselves to each other, and I had a friend that probably influenced me a lot, like in terms of like comparing myself to her, which I couldn't at all. She was like half my height, half my weight, probably had a whole different lifestyle, a different was on like a different lifestyle, meaning like very fit, healthy, and ate a different like kind of diet. And so I compared myself to her and felt like I needed to match her. I'm not sure if it was match is the right word, but and so I feel like that having her as a friend, and she was very obsessed with being healthy in terms of eating what she was eating and working out all the time, being with her all the time, and she was like my one good friend. Like, and when you have like a good friend at college, you want to, like, it's a new person, you want to latch on, and like we did everything together. So when you're that close to that person and are always spending time with them and hearing them talk about this stuff, I just became more aware of it and felt like I needed to adopt the same diet, I needed to lose weight even though I wasn't even fat. But that, I would say, I don't know if that answers your question. It's not really one moment I can remember, but just in general, that's kind of like the behind the scenes like story backtrack of from going to never thinking about it to when it started kind of cross my mind more in college.
What was the hardest part of it?
I would say, like, I guess coming to terms with like where you were at the moment and thinking that it's for some reason needs to be changed when it doesn't need to, like for any reason. Like it just kind of, you're like mentally you're kind of warped, and like when I look back on it, it's like there was nothing wrong with what I looked like or what I was eating or anything that I was doing. So I think the hardest part probably was feeling like I had to go through this major shift and do these different, like, start like stressing about what I was eating and stressing about making time to work out when I didn't have to be doing those things. And like I felt like it was a requirement, or I needed to get on board because of who I was surrounded by, and also just the general like campus climate and culture here of, you need to like look good, eat well, and like wear cute clothes that fit, that kind of body shape or that kind of lifestyle. So, and again, I think it's like a good thing to be healthy, both like physically, like doing like fitness when you're eating, and also what you're talking about mentally, which is not talked about enough. Like mentally healthy, I think trumps everything else, but it's not talked about at all. So I think those are all good things, but in terms of anything out of moderation, I've always learned it is, for my mom, is obviously not healthy. So anything can be taken to extreme, and that's not good. Yeah.
Why is it so hard dealing with body issues?
Well, it's definitely a sensitive topic, and I know, like, it's always related back to just the popular pop culture today in the media, how it's women are portrayed either like in terms of models and what they need to do. Like I've watched, and I think it's like subconsciously kind of reinforced too through Instagram, YouTube shows you watch. Like I watch different YouTube videos that are interesting about like the whole model process and how it just. I'm not saying I want to become a model, but when you hear the stories they go through and what they need to do to just make it, it's kind of scary, and it's not like as easy to compare yourself to their process, but it still like reminds you of just the general like pop culture and media of how women need to be like look a certain way. Even like little instances like on campus, like even at my club tennis tryouts, one of the guys said something about one of the girls that were trying out, and like just like little instances that just pop up like randomly.
What did he say?
He was like, one of the girls, like we were like trying out for, or like we were like at the end of the tryouts, we were like going over the girls, like who should make it, who shouldn't. We did the same for the guys, but of course nothing was brought up about guys because that's not an issue for guys, about body image, at least not as prevalent. And so he was like, oh, which one was that? Because he didn't remember her by her name. And another person in the group said, oh, she was like the skinny white girl. And then someone was like, oh, they're all skinny. And then he's like, you're right. Oh wait, actually not really. And then he's like, there was one that wasn't, like, that was fat. I was like, okay. So just like little things like that, and like they just laugh it off. That I like to my head I was like, oh, like I need to be understanding, like there's gonna be people like they don't understand what they're talking about. But then again, like you can't always condone, if you condone all those instances, that's just not right and not conducive to other people in the group that may negatively affect them. But I feel like I just went on a tangent and I don't remember what you asked about.
No,
I want to answer it right.
Yeah. How do
Did
you
I
deal?
answer it?
Yeah,
Or
you did.
Okay.
How do you deal with body issues now?
I would say I don't think I ever had major, like, I mean, like, I never had a huge issue with my look. Like, I definitely didn't feel comfortable in a bikini, though. Like, I didn't think I had a bikini body, and that's kind of what prompted, like, that summer, like, it was during the summer, and, like, I was like, okay, I need to get, like, bikini body ready and, like, start eating right and working out. So I would say what helps me now is just to be, it seems too easy, like, the base is just to be content with who you are and what you look like, and realize that people are not, like, good people that you want to anyways be around are not going to judge you or only hang out with you or, like, accept you for just looks. Like, whatever you look like, the people that you want to be around should accept you for no matter what you look like. It's more about what you can bring to the table, your personality, your smarts, your friendliness, like honesty, your qualities as a friend or as a sister, as a family member. So thinking kind of outside, and there's more to it than just what you look like, even though it sounds so easy, and especially in a culture that it's so emphasized about what you look like. I would say now I've just realized when you, like, that you don't need to work out every day or eat a perfectly healthy lifestyle every day to look a certain way. Like, you can still enjoy different life moments and have a balance, and be happy with what you look like. It shouldn't dictate, like, what you wear, like whether you can wear a bikini or a dress or a certain, like, pair of shorts. Like, yeah.
And overall, why are body issues not awesome?
I think it just kind of like the analogy to, like, stereotypes, or like it just puts things into a box, but when it's so much more than a tight, like, four-corner box, it's a more complex, dynamic, like, convoluted idea that just can't be perfectly, like, packaged and wrapped up in a bow in a box. Like, it just doesn't work like that. And so I think, what was your question again? Oh my god.
Why is that not awesome?
Oh yeah, so I think it just doesn't make sense to try to make people fit into these bins or boxes. And it obviously causes so many issues in our society, like, where it causes girls to, like, be unhappy and experience, like, mental health issues. It causes girls to compare themselves unhealthily to other girls. It, like, causes a lot of damage to their self-confidence and what their self-image, and then it may lead down to a line, like, at worst, to, like, issues with eating or issues with working out, and then that leads to so many other problems, whether it's social relationships, family relationships, friend relationships. And so I think it's, like I said, like, it's such a more detailed, complex issue that's not talked about enough and not given the value it deserves, and especially on a campus like this where it's so praised to be healthy and fit, but when there's downsides and it starts taking a toll on the person in their academics or social life, it needs to be like, seriously considered. Yeah.
Perf. Thanks, girl.